From the Pep Radio newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. The Hill is reporting that military families with transgender children are horrified by the House's passage of the National Defense Authorization Act, and some service members are now considering leaving the armed forces to protect their kids. The annual military budget contains a provision banning gender-affirming care for the trans children of military members. The bill passed Wednesday in a 281 to 140 vote, with 81 Democratic Congress members voting in its favor. I have a strong desire and propensity to continue to serve, but this will definitely weigh on my and my family's decision to continue serving, and that's difficult, but my family's got to come first. An Air Force chief with a trans daughter going by the name Jay told The Hill. Jay said he has served for over 20 years and cannot see the connection between military readiness and taking away this essential health care. In fact, he sees the provision as actively harmful to morale. Taking away something that families are relying on distracts us from the mission and the task at hand in order to be and remain as lethal as we are, he said. Jay's spouse added, "You can't say that this is going to help our military when you're scaring military families." If the NDAA passes, his family may have to purchase supplemental health insurance or pay out of pocket for their daughter's health care. Jay is considering leaving the Air Force in 2.5 years when his commitment is up. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said that Democratic congressional leadership didn't tell legislators how to vote on the bill, adding that there's a lot of positive and bipartisan provisions in the NDAA, but also some troubling ones. Senators will now vote on the bill, and if their version is identical to the House's and passes in the upper congressional chamber, it will go to President Joe Biden's desk, where he may veto or sign it into law. In the past, Biden has promised to veto legislation that harms the LGBTQ+ community. If Biden signs the law, it would be the first federal statute restricting the LGBTQ+ community since the infamous Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy of the 1990s, which heavily restricted LGBTQ+ people's membership from serving in the military. In education news, President-elect Donald Trump has nominated former professional wrestling executive Linda McMahon to lead the Department of Education, even though he wants to eliminate the cabinet-level government office completely. She has little educational experience apart from taking some college education classes and spending 1 year on Connecticut's Board of Education. In addition to donating millions of dollars to Trump's campaign and chairing a political action committee supporting him, she also supports so-called school choice programs. Such programs redirect taxpayer funds from public schools to private for-profit schools that can discriminate against LGBTQ+ students and others without any government oversight. So how does Linda McMahon view trans children in sports? Well, McMahon helped launch and serves as the chair of the board for America First Policy Institute, a right-wing think tank that has called transgender athletes a nightmare, said that President Joe Biden's trans-inclusive Title IX rules pervert girls' sports, and said that trans athletes threaten both the safety of female athletes and the integrity of women's sports. And how does Linda McMahon feel about transgender access to public bathrooms? While McMahon doesn't seem to have made public comments about this issue, Trump has promised to repeal Biden's Title IX protection for trans students, which requires schools to let trans students use bathrooms matching their gender identity on day one of his presidency. And what about don't say gay laws and LGBTQ+ discussions in schools? McMahon's Institute think tank has published numerous articles supporting so-called parents' rights policies, claiming that an ever-growing movement is now infusing classrooms with race-based policies and instruction that sexualizes young children and deconstructs the nuclear family. Parents' rights groups have long said that LGBTQ plus inclusive books in classroom instruction sexualize children, and they use the argument as a pretext for banning both from schools. To learn more about these or any of the stories we are covering, go to the Pennsylvania Equality Project's website, paequality.com, and click on the radio tower for videos and links to the stories covered recently. Be sure to download the Live 365 app, and that's the news at this hour. Now more music on PEP Radio.